All right, let me go ahead and give you guys your notes. If you look at their table of contents, you're getting a new one today because this really is its own separate course.
Sweet.
So you can put it all in the front of your notebook that you currently have, or just put a divider and then just be able to flip to this second part. Does that make sense? Okay. You're getting our little intro page and our table of contents. Do not throw your first semester stuff away because we will reference it in various ways. By the way, you guys heard my apartment flooded over the break? It flooded my teaching bag. My teaching bag was soaked. I had to throw away all those papers except for the one paper, really, that made it through. Can you take a guess?
The Bible.
What paper made it through the flood
I don't know.
from our first semester?
The flood paper.
Wow.
My laminated Bible on one page. It made it through the flood. I'm like, lamination is forever.
Sweet.
It lasts through the flood. That's what I'm saying. You just got a clean, fresh class assembly, okay?
What?
All right. So the table of contents goes in front, and then this is your first page.
Wait, this is our first page?
So, like, table of contents. Yeah. All right. So, just for review's sake and destiny's sake, okay, at the top of your prophet's little intro, I left some space just for you to jot notes about, remember how we do things in our class. Should be pretty cemented in your mind by now. But our memory verses, we're still going to do the same. My goal is to get through the whole keychain by the end of the semester. So on Monday, we'll review all the ones we've already done, and then I'll teach you a new one, and or probably 2 new ones next week. And we'll do how we've normally done. Okay, where at the end of the 9 weeks, we'll have a written test, but you'll just say them aloud. I will have more of a consequence if it's like, man, I feel like you're not putting forth any effort when I'm trying to drill with you. We'll probably have you write the verse several times if I feel like you just didn't try at all to put it in your brain. Okay, so if you want that quiz grade or whatever. All right, so let's look at this real briefly. We do cartoon a lot in here. Here is just a little cartoon that kind of symbolizes the class. So you got a little face over here, and he's speaking, and then over here you have the God symbol, okay? You guys know the feeling when Coach Wright speaks in chapel, and you're just like frozen in your chair, and it's dead silent in the chapel, okay? It's like God is speaking through him so powerfully. This is kind of the same scenario that we see with the prophets over and over, where the presence of God is speaking through a human so powerfully. It's almost like their heart is just burning with the message, okay? And the prophet books, even though they are small or not read very much these days, they still are so powerful if you understand the context, okay? And really that's the problem, that why we don't read the prophets. I bet if I took a show of hands, like almost nobody has probably read Obadiah, Nahum, Habakkuk, okay? Like you couldn't even guess what it was about, okay? And the reason is when you flip to it and you try and read it, you're like, this is really confusing. It sounds like God's really mad at a lot of people. And it's just like, what is even happening? Okay, so this class hopefully will give you this learning curve. Like, I'm going to push you to understand the context of these prophets, the historical context. And when you do, it'll be like, oh, okay, I know where they fit, okay? Thus, I can read them for myself, or I can understand what the preacher's talking about in church when he references them. Like, it puts them all in the right context, and that really is the struggle, okay? So, it says, the prophets in divided kingdom. That is the whole historical context piece, okay? It's a ton of storytelling about kings that have all sorts of craziness and adventures, and I love talking about those things. And into that context of the kings and the nation of Israel, the prophets are the preachers. They're the ones that come and talk to the Israelites about their need. Okay? So, down here you got a couple blanks, so let me just give you some quick little facts, and then we're going to do our first drawing of the semester. All right. It says percentage of the Bible. Can you guess the percentage of the Bible? Remember where it says in our rap song, and the prophets are these, Isaiah, Jeremiah, remember? Can you guess what percentage of the Bible is made up of prophets? You can say it out loud. Talking is okay. Say it again. 30%? That's actually really close. It's 25, okay? So jot that down. 25%. Okay? Now, God is the most patient, loving person that there is, okay? Because if I took a show of hands and we're like, oh yeah, we don't read the prophets very much, we don't pay attention to them, okay? 25% is a fourth of his words, okay? So let's just say that Jason is sitting at the lunch table, okay, with a pretty lady, okay, and he's listening to her, and he's like, oh, she is so nice. I just really like her a lot, okay? And he's like, okay, I want her to like me back, okay? I'm going to sit and I'm going to listen to her 3/4 of the time. That's pretty good, right?
No.
Yeah.
And like the other fourth, he's like looking away, getting under the table because he dropped something. I'll be right back. Keep talking, but I'm going to go get seconds. Okay? Would that work in a relationship to only listen 3/4 of the time? Jason, would it work?
Maybe.
It's like, I don't really. It's hard to listen. It's hard to listen. But in a good relationship, that happens, right? Like, ooh, or there's complicated things, okay? God's book is his voice wrapped up in pages, okay? If we're like, I don't want to hear like a whole fourth of what he has to say, that's a lot that we are missing out on, okay? So it's a large percentage for us to pay attention to. All right, where it says, who were they? They were all types of different men. Okay, and it's talking about prophets. Who were they? Okay, so fill that in. All types of different men. Okay, God picks up people to go talk for him that are from different nationalities, different occupations, different family backgrounds, different religious involvements, okay? It's very fascinating, okay? They are not a cookie-cutter person, okay? They're all sorts of different people. Okay, it says time period. Okay, the prophets that we're going to study all spoke or wrote to the divided kingdom, period. Remember that chart where we chopped it in half? I think that was that Hunter's? Hunter, was that yours? The divided kingdom chart. Was that yours?
Oh, mine's down yonder.
Oh, this one. Okay, I can't remember. This is Judah, maybe. I can't remember. Anyways, that chart that's divided. That one and the next 3 are the time period historically that these people are writing or speaking to and living through. Okay? So the time period is the divided kingdom of Israel. And then they are written and spoken to northern Israel and Judah. Okay, you remember we talked about how there's a civil war, they split, and we'll go into it a lot more. But Israel in the north and then Judah in the south are 2 different groups, and they have complicated things going on in each nation. Okay, where it says filled with, there's 3 lines. There's 3 main themes if you're standing back over looking at all of this material. Okay, what are the main things going on? Okay, so the first one is kings wrestling. Kings wrestling. We're going to study about 39 rulers, okay? And all of them have this, like, spiritual battle going on where they have to make choices about their faith and what everybody else is doing around them, okay? Or the idols that are calling their name, okay? And the wrestle that they experience is very powerful, and we learn a lot about ourselves, okay? So the second thing is prophets persevering, okay? Almost every prophet that we are going to read about did not have an easy life when they followed God, okay? Some of them were literally martyred, okay? And watching them persevere is inspiring to this day. That's like over thousands of years of history that their life is still inspiring to us, okay? So prophets persevering. Okay, and then the last thing, like I talked about before, it's filled with God speaking. God speaking. Okay, a lot of the text that we'll read is spoken from the first person, where it says, "Thus says the Lord," da, 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 da. And you hear his specific, like, his thoughts on things. I remember when I was dating Mr. Martin. About to tell a dating story. You can't stay awake. Okay. When I was dating Mr. Martin, or excuse me, I was talking with Mr. Martin, which is the difference, you know. When you first start talking with somebody, you know, you're just sort of like figuring out who they are. If we did something really dumb, okay, we decided we would go running together through this, like, we were talking and let's run, okay? Why is that so dumb? Why is it dumb to go running with somebody that you're just talking with?
It's hard to talk like that.
It was extremely hard to talk. In fact, we were in South Carolina at the time, and our school has massive hills that it was on, like, the main driveway is like one massive hill. So we'd be running and you'd be like, "Oh my word, I hope he doesn't ask me another question." You know, like, you know, and it was the worst. And I remember thinking, I wish we could just sit down and I could just hear him talk, like, uninterrupted. You know, like, I wanted to just hear what he's like, what he thinks about things. But we weren't to that point yet, you know, because we needed a reason to hang out. Holman, why don't you take off your jacket? Those things, well, no, but you need to stay awake. It just, they are so toasty. I'm pretty sure it puts every football player out. Good job saying late. You too. Good job. Okay, anyways. They're like little thermal, let me put you to sleep coats. So anyways, God shares what he thinks about things, okay? And some are going to surprise you, okay? So the last thing where it says our goal is going to be for me to make you Bible smarter, okay? That's my number one goal. I hope to touch your heart through the passages that we look at, but I want you to be able to, like, really understand this area of the Bible a lot more, where you feel just comfortable reading it for yourself after this, okay? So that is where we're going to leave that. I need you to take out a piece of paper. Maybe this will help with the weight stick lid. Okay, piece of paper. We're gonna do our first drawing.
Bradley, can I have this?
Destiny, when we draw on here, all you have to be able to do is draw a stick man.
Thank you. Never mind.
Can you do it? Stick man's pretty big. All you gotta do, my thing, I tell everybody, is like, just be confident with the stick man that you draw. And you'll be fine. Okay? Does anybody want to tell Destiny about the wall of fame real fast?
No.
I'll get up there.
It's competition normally when we do a drawing. Only the best ones make it.
Mainly Bradley.
There's a lot of intrigue and
A lot of
I
change.
found out that
Yeah, I got on
Bradley's
one time.
drawing, not this Bradley, but Bradley and Turpin, Elijah drew on Bradley's drawing to make it to my wall again. I was like, because I picked it already and I was so mad. He tricked me.
I got on there
Elijah
once, so
Payton.
I'm happy.
Drew
No.
on Bradley's drawing. And I was like, gosh, Bradley's been holding it on me. This is awesome. I didn't know he could cartoon like this. I was so excited. And then it was like,
He hit you.
anyways. Okay, ready? You're going to draw. I want you to really think about it. You're going to draw what your life would look like. You have to really think. Okay? You have to draw what your life would look like if you all of a sudden were given all the money and all the power that America had to offer.
We don't have any money. We're in debt.
Man, for real.
That got deep.
Bush and
Forget
Clinton
the debt
put
for a
us
little
in
bit,
that.
okay?
You paid it off.
Yeah.
Bush and Clinton put us in that hole.
Oh, that's a good point. Anyways, basically, if your life all of a sudden had pretty much unlimited money at your disposal, and you had the most power in America, okay? But they came together,
Dang.
okay? What would you do? Like, they picked you out, and they're like, Hunter, you are now the one in charge. Okay, here, you have all the authority, and you have all the money.
We have to draw it.
Yes, you're
Well,
going to
it's
draw
red.
yourself
I was ready
where
to
you're
check
going to
it.
live. Like, I mean, where are you going to build yourself a big
Charlotte
old
over
house?
here.
You're going to have 20 trucks.
Nah,
You're going to
I'd
have
rather
massive
not.
amounts of land to hunt upon.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to have, you know, like the mall as your
No.
closet,
No.
ladies? You're
Oh
like,
my God,
excuse me, I'm going
yes.
to go get some clothes. And you walk into
For
a
real.
mall that's your
Yes.
closet.
Delaware,
gotta think
whatever
about it.
is.
Okay? So, draw where you would live. Would you work? Like, you can draw if you
No.
have a job.
No.
Okay, so you have to think about, like, what would you do with your power then if, you know, because
If you had all the
somebody
money in
has,
the world,
they're
what's
going to
the
be
point of
asking
working?
you know, you're in charge. So,
Well,
it is.
to
So,
a certain
start
degree.
drawing, okay? Think what would change about your life. Maybe some things would stay the same. I don't know. Would you build a house and have all your friends come live in the house?
Nah.
This is on this. Like,
Nah.
on the wall.
No, this is for notes. This is for notes. We're gonna do another one on the back too, so don't just crumple it up or something. We're gonna
Can we do like little sections?
Yes, that's a good idea because there's probably a lot that's gonna be going on. Okay, like would you build you a house on an island somewhere? Oh, see,
Ooh, Hawaii.
Yep.
Okay,
Change.
would you force people in Hollywood to hang out with you,
Nah. What's the point of going to Hollywood?
marry you?
Well,
I would
You have all the power.
well,
You have all the power.
That's mine, so.
it would be nice, but you know, stuff like that don't happen every
That'd
day.
be my first one.
What would be in its place?
For real. No, I don't remember you. Get out of my life. Leave me alone.
It is. It's a tough one. They were like, "What would you do, Miss Martin?" I'm like,
I don't know all the guns in the world.
the money part isn't as hard as the
Frick.
power part.
Probably just saved most of it.
I don't think many of you would still go to school.
Nah.
Oh,
Drop out.
I'd make homework and
I
make
would
it
almost.
For real.
You'd what?
homework.
And school. I make school illegal.
Say it louder. You would make
School illegal.
done.
Legal.
Illegal. Homework.
Good job, Jason.
Make it.
Little Miss was telling me something about how like some schools do it. Like,
Yeah, and they're
where they
their grades improve
Oh,
dramatically.
this
where
is,
they like watch
oh,
a video of how the
oh, this is
lesson works,
French
and then they
game.
go
That ain't
to
gonna
school to
happen.
work on the word with
Um,
whichever.
Yes, that's actually a whole different stuff. So at home, you would watch a video like this
Yeah.
because you wouldn't need me because I'd be on the screen, and then
This is
I would be
French
here to
camp.
help
We need to
hands-on.
Yeah.
in the
educated
school.
enough to do that.
But then you just think about 7 class videos you have to watch.
I
I'll
had to
probably
do
just
that.
skip all
I
of it.
guess.
I had to do that for homeschool.
Really?
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say my grad school's videos and stuff, but
That's why
So
I
I'd make
keep
my
doing that crap.
while I'm watching.
Retarded.
You have the same friend.
I'll make an aircraft.
For
Well, maybe.
real. Wow.
How many trucks would you buy?
Probably about 5, to be honest.
All of them?
I don't need a
Yeah.
lot.
Just one vehicle.
One vehicle?
Just buy like a 12-car garage or a 20-car garage. Just own like 10 cars.
How many trucks would you buy, Philip?
I can do all
My house will have a basketball court
Like how
inside
many?
it.
If you could have any that you want, how many would you have? 3?
I don't know about 10. I don't know about 10.
Like from every period of time,
Yeah,
So
but it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Like the square bodies and then.
I just don't know about 10 or 12.
have a car for every single day.
Oh,
That
that's
would
rotate
be
your
like you have
cars.
your shopping cart,
Roll
your
it.
clothes to take shopping, and then you have like your soccer mom car.
Yeah, like
Then you got your go to
Like,
work.
then you have,
fast food car.
Then you got your hunting vehicle, you know.
And then you've
Then
got
you
your
got
dog car. You take your dogs everywhere.
I would own
Because
every
there's
Canes in
never
the
gonna be
world.
another homeless dog
You would.
around.
I would own every Canes in the world.
I would probably have Starbucks in my home
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
so I was thinking about like a coffee
with whole
shop.
staff.
Yeah.
I'd have like Wendy's inside my
And
house.
like a club.
I'm gonna make Mr. Hoskett my servant.
Okay.
Freedom. I'm gonna make Mr. Hoskett.
Hey, it's that. It was that one movie that had McDonald's inside that dude's
I
house.
said-
What
Thank
movie
you.
was that?
Okay, I would not do that.
Yeah, it had McDonald's inside his house.
Get rid of homeless
Stop
people.
searching nuggets, 'cause they now have
Like,
I'd have like Wendy's or something.
$50 chicken nuggets. When I saw that, I was so excited.
That's legit.
Dude,
I was like,
50 piece chicken nugget.
You go on about like a 3-day fast and
I
I feel like that dude had a Big Mac every day for a year. Be like eating a Big Mac every day for a year.
Now, think about it. If you have the most power
Mm.
and the most money, are people just going to be like, yay, I'm so glad that you have that?
No, they're gonna be jealous.
Uh-huh.
it depends.
So what should you maybe have? Yeah, like, you should, like, security-wise, you should probably...
More than
Yeah.
a bodyguard. I'd be like the
I mean,
I think I'd be okay.
that would be so cool having a bodyguard.
Freedom.
or a butler. You can get a butler.
It's weird, though, because then they're always around. I don't know how, like,
Do they sleep in your house?
probably.
Yeah.
They probably are, like, outside your door. You know what I mean? Like,
Like a dog. They
like a
lay
little-
down.
yeah.
A little cot right beside your bedroom and be like, I'll be right here if you need me.
But see, that's weird. So you better pick somebody with a personality that you like.
They
I
got-
know.
Yeah, they can't. They
But
could
also
be
a
like,
ninja. You know, like, they need to be stealthy.
yeah, I could give me a butler. Give
Because
me a
if they're
butler
joking
and a
too
maid.
much, they're not
Like, are
going
you
to be.
taking your job seriously?
Yes.
personal chef.
Are you gonna jump in front of a bullet?
Yes.
You better.
I'm gonna have a personal comedian.
For real, that'd be cool.
I mean, you know, the White House has its own movie theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
they probably
So-
they got their own everything.
I know, it's pretty awesome, huh? So, our personal comedian.
On like your own gym inside your house.
do.
or something.
The, would your friend group stay the same?
Yes.
Well,
Probably not.
Well,
Yeah,
mine would
probably-
expand.
probably not.
Yours would expand. Okay.
Mine would.
Why do you think it would expand,
I
Frida?
wouldn't. I cut some
Because
people
my
off on
plan,
mine.
if I was to be rich or very powerful,
I might keep one or two
I
people.
drew an orphanage
Uh-huh.
and I drew a bunch of homeless people
Mhm.
and I drew some music and I drew some bags and food in a car and I would take, well, I would basically share my money, share my home, and like buy all the orphanages and stuff and like help the poor
That's pretty cool.
and stuff. That's it's kind of in my dream. So, yeah. And I
You're
think
looking
So it would
appreciate
expand because you would have all these new relationships in your life.
Yeah.
When you first said that, though, I thought and I bet everybody thinks this initially, when you say your friendship group would expand, what would be suspicious about that?
They're just using you.
Yeah. But
You know, not in your scenario
Right.
because it's a little bit different. But let's just say a whole bunch of like friendship people show up at your house. You're like, have I even talked to you? What's your name?
Now
What
that
do you
You're
was
like,
a little bit,
Hannah, what's up? And you're, how would you feel if they all of a sudden
Some
showed
bank
up
there
now?
doesn't even talk to you.
Get my bodyguard to
Yeah.
kick him out. Get out. You know. I want
Okay,
the house
let's
to
talk about
myself.
this power piece.
Mm,
What are you gonna do with your power, Isaac? What would you do?
no more school.
Most power in the land.
That's what I was saying.
Hunting season here.
You're like a dictator. What would you do?
Oh, God.
Okay, now that's with your money.
That's boring.
What would you do with your power? Okay, alright.
Well.
Good sugar.
Or what? Hey, do what Mr.
4 would star you.
Hey, do what Mr. Lewis said this morning. First period.
I finally saw Cars 3, by the way. We own it now. It's good. It's good.
Just say what
Little
Mr. Lewis
surprise
said in
again,
first
yeah.
period this morning. Creamy.
Huh?
This sound is so
No,
weird.
I'm
He
not
does?
gonna say it.
No, it's such a disgusting word.
I was like,
He doesn't die.
no.
He's a car.
He doesn't die though.
No, that would never would have worked.
Make it child appropriate.
Does he?
And you said he was like a hygiene.
James, what would you do with
No, that's a
unlimited
hype
power?
He was not a hype man.
Man, there is so much apathy across the 11th grade with power. It is so interesting to me. Everybody is saying I wouldn't do anything. I would, but they're showing up at your door being like, "What do we do about this? What would you do? Like all the problems
screw
are
it.
coming to you.
See? It's like a word.
You have the most power.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like
Be
I'm
neutral.
good.
So anarchy would reign because you do nothing.
Get
Huh?
get you a government started.
Okay, get you a government started. Would you just leave things as they are?
Well,
And you would just be
well,
like, if
yeah.
I wanted to, I can jump in.
Yeah, no, I would change that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like change whatever you want to.
So you're like the fourth branch of government.
In place. And
Yeah.
Leave
I would
Trump.
just
Leave
like-
Trump in there.
and just like keep a close eye. So
Don't buy
like,
a
make
president.
sure-
Okay.
He's on
He
your
doesn't
speed
press the
dial.
big button on
but not leave like the same person. Make sure I would appoint the president.
President
Okay.
on speed dial. Hold
You would
on.
appoint
No,
your-
I'd let America choose.
You go to America.
Well,
I don't like it. He's like,
It's like America chooses
Okay.
the guy. That's
American
like,
can
no, I don't
choose
like
as long as
him.
I like. Okay. Which is just the same as you do. For the most part. That's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Just choose one day.
And then just be like, hey, like him. And
Just choose
hit like. If
I have money, so you
Yeah.
have to like.
Oh, I want a
have the army on speed dial.
You'd want to what, Gracie?
cheese it
oh,
back. I
you
want
know,
Would-
A chicken
Would
ball?
all your money
not a chicken ball.
I thought
distract
said
you from
chicken
all your
ball.
power?
What the heck?
No.
Probably.
No.
You know what I mean? Where you wouldn't have much time. Huh?
I feel like at first it would. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of like, what should I do?
I would have
I
a
wouldn't
freaking
even
zoo
think
in my
about
house.
power. I feel like,
Yeah.
what do you
For
think
real.
is money?
Yeah. Until
I'd
you
own
got
every
going on.
kind of animal there was.
So,
4 rooms for all of my dogs.
so let's talk about relationships for a second. You had all the money and all the power.
Stay single.
myself.
If you had all the money and
Yeah.
all the power, dating wise, would anything change in your life?
I'd marry
Oh, yeah.
Shawn Mendes.
Okay,
Ooh.
so you just force him, or would you try and win him
I don't know
with
about that.
your, like, would you just force him to hang out with you at first?
No, he'd love me.
Okay.
I wouldn't have to pay him.
Stay single so you don't have to buy him anything.
Oh goodness. Okay.
What the heck?
What do you think? You
There's
had-
somebody rolling down the
I feel like
hallway.
I'd be so worried about like my money and my power. I wouldn't even be thinking about
Okay.
relationships.
Stay,
You'd be
stay
all by
single.
yourself in your big old house.
Yeah, just like sitting.
I would make Miley Cyrus my mom.
All right.
Whoa.
All right.
Adopt me.
No. You're mine now.
The
Basically what it means.
would you worry that people were marrying you for your money, or like
Yeah.
wanting to date you for your money? You
Yeah.
know?
I'd be fine.
Then you gotta buy them something. That's the reason why. You gotta be
The thing
single
is,
so
also,
you
how would
don't
you know the difference? You know?
so you don't buy them anything.
Would you care? Maybe some of you wouldn't care. You're like, I mean,
Is that a
hey,
giraffe?
like me for my money.
I was wondering how that works with like professional athletes. So I guess that's why you see the.
I think about it.
It's like Party Safari.
Yep.
Big giraffe.
That is complicated.
Yeah.
The Lord can provide.
I know what to do.
That man
Right.
does
Really?
double team. That man does that man's a sports
And I'd be like,
announcer
I
and he
hate-
plays baseball
And
at
then
the
forget
same
about it
time.
and be like,
Which his baseball career ain't that good right now.
My family saw him at the Columbia Fireflies.
Who?
Timothy Buck.
Uh-huh.
He just needs to quit baseball. He ain't going anywhere.
It's hard. What you got?
He's good as a sports
How do
announcer.
you draw bass at home?
Draw, yeah, draw.
Where's Hannah?
I have this one. His name is Roscoe Pickleton.
Hannah.
yeah, let me see that junk.
I like Dixie, but she'd always
Let me see it. She's a smacking boy. What'd you say, Frida?
There's one
Wow.
No,
Thanks.
oh, you know there's another Russian dude here?
I used to have a bunch.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh?
Now I got like a bunch of.
I don't know. I don't know
He's
this.
from Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
was like,
ain't.
oh yeah, Russian population is growing.
What, is that New York?
Yeah,
That's where you want to
We're
live?
not spies.
I mean,
Is that your house?
Thanks though.
Marlene, you need some type of like stairs
Yeah,
going
no,
outside.
I have like
Like,
a quick feature.
you see that junk? That's 6 right there. What is this?
I don't know.
My house in SC.
Oh, that doesn't.
For Yankees.
I love Yankees. First thing.
And you go Russell Roll.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll help you out.
Huh?
Golly, dude.
$2 stand up.
No money.
Okay,
two-handed.
would you have a job?
Oh my god.
Would you work?
Yes.
I would.
Well,
Okay, what would you do? What would your job be?
yeah.
I would
kinda.
be.
Something easy. Something
I'd be a nanny.
I'd be in the
I like working
FBI.
with children.
I'd be in the FBI.
FBI.
Sweet.
I'd probably be a doctor.
Pipeline.
Pipeline. Even with all the money, you would still work.
Yep. Some people like working.
I
always wanna
think
get
everybody
married.
would like
That's
working if they found the right job.
That's what
I
my
think-
cousin does.
Unless you just
You could trade jobs every day.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring
You could.
basset hounds.
I would like want to work, but
That's
I
what
would
my
want to
cousin
like
does.
make
He
money.
rarely comes
Okay.
I just
home.
want to work like.
I would give my money to
Nice.
people. Like my money
Yeah,
for my
yeah.
job. I feel like I
The
would.
money doesn't matter.
My cousin rarely comes home from work, and so
Sure.
and he makes $4,000 a week.
Okay. Carry on the family business, man. Would you do a hay maze? Would you do the maze thing? You guys are Okay, flip your page over. Throughout history, there are people that have literally had this happen to them.
Bankrupt.
Okay, their lives have drastically changed, and all of a sudden, in their country, not even just today, although this does even still happen today. Throughout history, this is their lot. Okay, like, oh man, I have as much money, or have more money than everybody else in my country, and I have the most power. Whatever I say goes. What are those people called throughout history? There's different names for them.
Dictator.
Yes, dictators. What else in other cultures? What would they be called? Tyrant, emperor, king,
Czar.
pharaoh, czar. Very good. Okay, on the back. Yes. On the back, I want you to pick one of those. Okay, like emperor, czar, king, pharaoh, dictator. And I want you to draw what comes to mind, like from a movie or from a story about a typical, like, king. Sort of just like what you did on the just like what you did on the front. Draw them. Okay, draw like what do they look like? Are they grumpy? Are they dressed well? Is there stacks of money all around them? I think of like the Disney Robin Hood with the king, where he has like money piled up all around of him. You know, draw what the typical person looks like that has literally had this happen to them. Like, do they just have one woman?
No.
Oh no. So draw. Okay, multiple ladies. Okay, they did use their power to get the relationship that they wanted, and it wasn't. They kept using.
Wow, Jason.
Okay, yes.
No, I'm confused.
He flipped it around. Some of those ladies had power over their man.
I'm saying like some who married with other countries.
Right. That's right. Okay, so draw it. Draw it. They had, what did they do with their power? Like, they had, I bet a lot of them had servants. And do the servants like the person, or are they looking miserable? Draw what that looks like, okay?
Wait, so we're drawing a person?
Yeah, like you pick, like a king, pharaoh, dictator, whichever one you want. Okay, and draw what their daily life looks like. What did they do with their power and money? I'll try and draw them. You draw your own. Does your dude have anything in his hands in the picture? Huh? Oh, a sword. Okay. Mine's looking suspicious. Is your idea the guy's suspicious? Why is he like? He has the most power. Why would he be suspicious? Like,
Might use his power like wrongly.
Pretty good.
okay. Yeah, maybe he's got corruption going on.
You gotta watch his back. You know who's against
Yes.
him.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Somebody go pop a calf now.
Here's all his servants
Pop, 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 pop.
bowing down to him. And they're not happy. Oh no. Don't hurt us. Here's all his ladies.
Mm.
Also, when ladies have been in this position, It has not always been pretty
I
either.
usually do.
Can you think of a pretty terrible queen that's pretty famous in England?
Jezebel.
No, in England.
Oh gosh.
Try the.
I'm gonna jump out the window.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth.
No.
No, she's so good.
Oh.
That one was like 100.
Yeah, Queen Mary. Bloody Mary.
That one was like 150
Queen
years
of
old.
Scots.
Oh, I even did an essay on her.
Bloody Mary.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like,
I've done that crap.
they're afraid because if you don't like somebody and you have all the power, you can just get them gone. And I told you, I normally envision like mounds of money just like hanging out all around him. And I think of the Robin Hood one because no matter how much he got, it wasn't ever enough, you know?
No.
He was always taking more taxes.
Ugh.
Big castle, big palace. What you got? What you got on yours? Did you draw a big palace?
No.
Massive walls. You got a whole bunch of security guards. Here's their swords. They got all kinds of like horses. Times lots. Probably like fanning him.
You gotta have a- It's like a dead palm, man.
Fanning him. Do you think you turn into this kind of guy if you had all the power and all the money?
I wouldn't want
It could happen before you know it.
it. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want it to happen, but you get caught up in everything. It probably will happen.
What are some of the, like, what area of our country has some of the most money? Or what people group in our country has some of the most money
China.
in our country?
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, like, okay, yeah, LA, Hollywood,
New York.
you know, those kind of things.
New York, Florida.
Are the people that have the most money,
Texas.
do they ever start looking like this?
Well.
Huh?
He coached at Ole Miss last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I know what
I need to see Brandon McLaughlin after class, please.
you're talking about. So adding a whole bunch of money is kind of dangerous. Have you heard the phrase about absolute power? Very famous phrase. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
That makes no sense.
All right. Well, we will pick up tomorrow or not tomorrow, Monday.